Hello guys, welcome to another video. Club 100 at Rye House. This was my best result ever, and I managed to record every single race. I thought, why not? Let's put it all together, some mini highlights reel with commentary, so I can speak through what I was thinking at the time. Obviously with 3 random grid heats to start off with, no qualifying, so a bit tricky, especially when you're around this track. It can get very competitive and very messy, as we'll see in the first lap of this video here, of this heat. Starting P8, so inevitably going to be shafted wide here. I'm going to lose some positions, as it's already getting messy in front. We're about to get sandwiched into this next corner, and really just trying to fight, just trying to survive. I cover off the inside here and get loaded into the driver in front of me. Nothing I can really do. Luckily the driver in front could just carry on. He's actually pulled a good gap already, and being attacked by even more drivers here. Got another one on the inside, so just trying to keep up the momentum, try and prevent losing even more positions, and then get wide, loaded wide here as well. So this has not been a very good lap one whatsoever here at Rye House on their newly resurfaced track. I thought this resurfaced track was really good, very grippy. The tyres are switched on straight away, but yeah, the poor lap one for me. We need to start getting on with it, really, making up some positions. As I say, Darren Till, who started alongside me, is quite far along the road now, so he's having a good race to start off with. And it was very difficult to overtake around this track. There's not really many overtaking spots, but I did find my favourite spots, as you will see throughout this video. There is a spot into here, but it can be quite risky. You don't want to get penalised for a bump and pass, as that's a 4 position penalty. So if you're going to make a move, you need to do it firm but fair, and you need to act on it quite quickly. Now I think there's an opening here. I didn't know whether the driver was going to turn in quite hard, but he hits the driver in the blue suit, and then that leaves me with nowhere to go, bumping into that driver, which is going to get me another contact warning, and eventually adding on to a penalty here. Now I did speak to the driver behind me. He knew there's nothing I could really do to avoid him, but we've got a +2 position penalty. So now with that in mind, really got to crack on. So at the time when it comes up on the start line digi, it comes up saying penalty. It doesn't say how many positions, what it's for. So in my head, I think at this point I'm thinking it could be a +4 position penalty, which would be disastrous. It's only been 3 laps. So I see that penalty on the board. We just need to crack on down the inside of this driver here. Good move, and need to make even more progress as quickly as we can. And I was very strong into that hairpin there. I was very late on the brakes, but yeah, this is a really fun track to drive. And the first time I drove this track was, I think, around 2018, 2017, something like that, in their pro karts. It was very more rough and ready back then, but now this resurfaced track, also a lot of the big curbs, the big nasty curves have gone as well, which is nice. Means it's a lot easier to race on, and I really enjoyed driving around this track. Now we're going to see if we can make a move on this driver here. Unfortunately, he's just about covering the inside, and he goes wide here, so we're just going to slip past down the inside. Good move, and now we're behind Ben Lambeth. And I think at this point we're currently sitting in P6. Obviously with the penalty, obviously in my mind I didn't know whether it's +4 or +2. But it was for a penalty for multiple contacts, so it wasn't for a bump and pass. It's for just going into people, really. I mean, lap 1 couldn't really do anything with the loading, and then obviously with that other driver later on, again, couldn't really avoid him. But it's however they see it, it's however the observers see it, and it is a difficult job. Ben Lambeth driving pretty well here, especially through the last sector. I believe this is his first time at the venue, although he did slow down a lot for that corner there and put me off a little bit. As I say, he's probably still trying to learn the track. But he's doing a good job at the moment, and we're going to see what we can do, see if we're able to work together to catch up to the drivers ahead, or is it just too little too late, especially as there's only a couple minutes left. These are very short races, 7-minute races, so need to crack on. And yeah, this last section here seems to take the longest for me to get good at. You see Ben's got it quite nailed down there, always pulling. out of that last corner. So we're going to follow him through here. We're quite strong through this first section. Well, relatively strong, let's say. Not close enough to Ben yet to make a move, if we think that's the right thing to do at this time. He had another good hairpin. He's coming off these slow corners very well, is Ben. So we need to start driving better if we're going to make a move. Again through this last section, can we stick a bit more with Ben? And I'll massively mess it up there. Just a slight snap of oversteer, and yeah, now we're really far behind. But as I say, very strong through this first section. So I can see the drivers ahead starting to get away a bit, so we're not making any progress at all. So go down the inside here. That's definitely one of the better overtaking areas. And as I say, the two in front are really starting to get away. But the main reason for making a move is just there's less than 2 minutes left on the clock, and these drivers are just too far ahead really to catch up. Even though I've overtaken Ben now, there just isn't enough time as we come through this last section onto the main straight. We're going to skip, I believe, to the final lap now. Here we go in the final lap. As you can see, I think this is 2 laps later, and this is no progress at all. We did manage to get the fastest lap in this race. It was 43.4, so the pace was there. Maybe not as early as I would have liked, but yeah, it was a very tough start to the day. Currently sitting in P5 with a +2 penalty, and by this point I think a top spot in the A final was already gone, although you don't want to think like that. You know, P7 is not the type of position you want if you want to finish high up in these rounds. So coming around the last corner here, again not really making much progress, finishing P7 after penalties, and we need to build up our confidence again and go again. So in heat 2, starting on pole position, it's a lot easier to have a bad race and then build up your confidence with a P1 again, because you know, you feel like you've been given an extra opportunity. Whereas if you start at the front and finish at the back, and then your next race you're at the back again, it can be a bit demoralising. But I knew in this race I had a very good chance of winning as long as I had a good first lap and create a gap straight away. So here we go, trying to get a good first lap, nail everything. As you can see, the tyres are just switched on straight away. You don't even have to worry about tyre temp or tyre grip. It's just already there, especially with this new surface. And what was quite funny is this first lap was a very good lap, considering we crossed the line at a slower speed and I had to take turn 1 a bit narrower. So it was a 44.1, which was faster than some people's fastest lap all race. So we got a really good start, and we were around 8 tenths up on the driver behind. And going into this final lap, we now have a 4.8 second lead. Obviously skipping to the end here, there's nothing really too much to see. And by this point I knew the race was done, so I didn't want to take too many risks. I don't want to get too close to the tyre walls. Don't want to risk a penalty, a silly penalty, something I managed to do the day before this, and by costing a win. Obviously missing the apex there by miles, but it doesn't really matter. Wasn't really going for the fastest lines at this point, just trying to relax, especially as I knew I had to go out straight away after this heat as well, with how the draw was. So as soon as I get out of this heat, I'm getting ready for the next heat. No gap at all. So we get a P1. We've managed to salvage a bit of a result there. And now this next race was meant to be starting P6, but instead we're starting P5 thanks to someone in front not here, which makes a massive difference. It means I start on the right hand side and straight away able to get into P3. So it makes a huge difference starting on the right hand side, and now we can start thinking about trying to get P1 in this race. So originally starting P6, you're looking at maybe coming out of turn 1 P7 or P8, and now we're up to P3 already. This has been a very good start, so you know, things are now starting to turn a bit more in our favour today. The driver in front looking behind quite a bit already, so very aware of my presence and very keen to act on whatever I do. That's what I managed to gauge from that, as you see, looking behind, jumping up and down, and trying to look for a spot. Not really going to happen. As you see, he's taking it very, very narrow already, so he's already playing the defensive game. He's more thinking about P2 here than P1. And then both drivers there making a bit of a mistake into the hairpin. So yeah, we're going to see what we can do, really trying to find a spot to overtake. It is only 7-minute races, so if you are going to get by, you need to think of a way soon, especially if the drivers are starting to defend. It's not so easy. But this was a good race. Managed to keep it clean and get some good overtakes in, let's hope. Following this driver here, again he's playing the very narrow game there, but he's doing it quite well. He's still able to carry a lot of speed. He is driving that very well in a defensive manner. And now I'm really thinking, how can I get by this guy? Where can we do it? I was thinking maybe if I get a good run out of the last corner, there'll be a good opportunity, because I know he wasn't defending there. But it is my weakest section on this track. I'm not too sure why either, just don't know. There's a lot of track furniture in the way as well, so you don't want to be hitting a cone, you don't want to be scraping the tyre wall. As you can see, very aware of my presence. And the driver in first place is now starting to build a small gap here, so really need to find a way sooner than later. The driver ahead makes a small mistake. Now we get a good run. He doesn't check over his shoulders, and now nice and easy down the inside. Now we can focus on P1, and I knew at this point that the driver behind wouldn't really trouble me too much. I know he wants to think about working forwards as well, but look at the gap ahead. It's about 8 tenths, 9 tenths, and he's not slow either. So we need to drive literally perfect laps to catch up here. He is driving well. He's jumping up and down in his seat as well. He wants the heat win, as do I, as do people behind. But this is a really good track with the new surface. I really enjoyed driving this place. Never seen so much track furniture in my life, but makes it more tricky. Sometimes the tyre walls have been moved from lap to lap, so it can change every lap. But yeah, we're not really making much ground on this driver. If anything, it looks like he's pulled away slightly, so need to get my act together if I'm gonna make any impact on first place. And then driver constantly checking behind his shoulder, seeing where I am. Really, in that position, you just want to check over your shoulder once a lap, just so you can focus more on the lap you're driving. But he's keen to stay in front, keen to convince himself that he's still got a good enough gap from corner to corner. I would say very good corner here. So after a few good corners, we're starting to make a bit more progress now. Build a bit more pressure on the driver in front, who is driving well. So at the moment, if we were to finish where we are here, we'd have a P1, P2 and P7. That would definitely secure an A final, but where? Not sure yet. But we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about P1 with a couple of minutes left, probably around 4 minutes. As I say, good through this turn 1 section here. Now we're really on his bumper. We can start thinking about a move. He looks over to defend. Very late on the brakes, straight lining it to the apex. Good move into the lead. Now I had a quick check over the shoulder, and I could see that I was accelerating a lot quicker out of the corner than he was, so I knew that I did not have to worry about an immediate attack from behind. And now we're in the lead. Now we're feeling comfortable. We managed to get the fastest lap in heat 1. We got the fastest lap in heat 2 as well, with a 43.386, and hilariously in this heat I set the exact same lap time, 43.386. And moving on to the final lap here. And now the gap is, I can't remember what the gap was, but it wasn't overly much, maybe a second and a bit from memory, maybe less. And yeah, really thought I bonded well with this circuit. Quite complex in areas. Had to be very precise with your driving, which I like. Coming through the last section, past pylon, past the pit lane entry to secure another victory. So originally when we were looking at a P7 finish in Heat 1, managed to completely come back from that with 2 P1s, and that secures us P4 for the A final, which was good. I was really pleased with that. On pole we have Sam Essery, and second place Mike Coppin. They both had excellent runs in the heats. I believe both of them had 2 firsts and a second. So yeah, amazing run by them. And now we need to try and challenge them for the win. However, starting P4 alongside Ashley White, I didn't know really what to expect. Will we come out P6? Will we come out P7? Because starting on the outside is always going to end up in tears and always going to end up with you losing positions. So Ashley White comes alongside Mike Coppin here for P2, but Mike manages to hold it and I managed to follow through. A bit of fighting going on, but we survive into P3. So now I can really focus on trying to close the gap to Sam and Mike. I knew from the 3-lap warm-up they had a good kart, so I knew it was capable of winning the race. The bottom end was about the same as everyone else. The top end was about the same, but it was the mid-power, the mid-range. The kart was very strong. So I knew that if I could drive well, I could really make an impact on those ahead. Following Mike now through turn 1. As you say, these two in front have had a very good run in the heat, so I know that they're no slouch whatsoever. They do know how to drive this track. A really good corner by me there, very late on the brakes, and good turning meant I could catch straight onto the back of Mike, but Mike follows that with another good corner there. So we've really got to get their act together if we are to challenge these top 2, but we're well in the mix, which is good. So we'll just follow around for now, but a good exit here. Very good exit meant I was able to catch straight onto the top of Mike, and that's where the kart was strongest, is when it was directly behind someone it would just pull up straight away. And Mike tried to cut me up there, but we were through up into P2. Now we can start making inroads on Sam, and after another good corner through the hairpin, already straight onto the back of him here. He's driving well, is Sam, clearly lacking a bit of power. So we'll push him around for now. Don't want to get too close to him, don't want to get any contact warnings or anything like that. And as you can see from his driving through the last 2 corners, he really is pushing that car as hard as he can. He's doing the right thing by not defending now. There's no point, completely pointless. You don't want to have the whole pack catching up to you, because if you do start losing positions, it means everyone's in contention to overtake you. We're going to go for a move on Sam here, very late on the brakes, as is Sam, and we managed to slide past into the lead of the A final. And now I'm feeling confident. Now I know I've got the pull from the kart. I'm driving well. I've been feeling fast around this track all weekend. So now hopefully I'll be able to pull away, to create a big gap and have no worries. But it's not always that simple in Club 100. Always seems to be someone just appear out of nowhere, and in that case it was Darren Till who was on the move. As I say, trying to drive as perfect as we can at the moment, with Sam and Mike still closely behind. I knew I could drive fast, so I just needed to do that, needed to be consistent, really hitting every apex as we are, maximising the track. And yeah, it's going well, the driving's good. We're going to slowly build a gap, and hopefully never have to look back, but as I say, not always the case in Club 100. Such a competitive series, so many good drivers, very difficult to just gap people in the A final, and here is when Darren Till is a lot closer to me now, so we're taking turn 1 a bit tighter, just to try and put him off doing any move. Obviously only defending when necessary. If I don't need to defend, there's no point. We don't want to bring other people into contention. We want to keep it to as small number of people as possible in contention for the win. So if you do start losing positions, there's no one hot on your heels ready to pounce. And as I say, driving well. And yeah, I trust Darren for now that he's not going to make too much of a move, as we are just trying to get away. But eventually that has to stop. There's only a couple minutes left, and now we are really going to play the defence game. And she is hot on my heels through turn 1. However, we managed to build a big enough gap here that we did not need to defend through that corner. And so far it's going to plan. I mean, Rye House is definitely one of the easier tracks to defend on because it's so narrow. Tracks like Landau, Wilton is a bit more difficult, so much space, so many different options. Yeah, so we've definitely got it a bit easier here at this track with defending. The only thing that Darren's got is that he's got no risk from anyone behind, so he can really play around with the space that he has available. As you can see, really starting to defend now as hard as we can because he is close by. And now we need to start defending into this corner. Hard on the brakes, sliding the kart to try and make that car even wider, to try and stop him from making a move. We really are covering all of the track now. Luckily, the drivers behind us are around a second and a half, maybe more behind. So we've got a good gap as Darren and I. I think it's Mike who's now into 3rd, and Sam close by in 4th. Really trying to get good at that last corner here. And now we're going into the final lap of the race. Can we hold it? Can we get the A final win? My first in CLUB100 if I do. I had a big enough gap not to have to defend too hard into turn 1, but he's right on my heels here. Really got to defend hard. Really cover the inside of the track. Make the kart wide. And had a big enough gap through here. And now when I get to this point, I am feeling confident. I am feeling like I've got this one in the bag. It's very difficult to overtake towards the second half of the track. I know that. Darren will know that. Straight line in the corner here, so he's trying to stop him from doing any big lunge possible. Carrying loads of speed, and we come round the last corner and managed to get our first A final win. Super pleased with that. Did not think Rye House would be the track where I'd do it. Last year when we did Rye House, I was nowhere. I was really nowhere. But a brilliant run by Darren too. It feels better to win, especially when you've been challenged for it. And I say Mike Kopp in 3rd and Sam Essery in 4th, but 2nd for Class 2. Great race, great round, great day. Started off a bit tricky, a bit messy, but we managed to pull it back. And I had loads of fun. Really looking forward to the next round, Landau. It's amazing what a new helmet and a new weight setup can do to confidence. Absolutely beaming with self-confidence now. And yeah, what a great day. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Dante, you know. Well done, Dante.